Welcome to this tutorial on the West Hamilton Community Church website. In this tutorial you'll be seeing the public face of the website and going about the different features which are available to anyone who comes to the website. First of all, you will land on what's called the home page. This is the page which you would get to when you enter the domain name in the browser, your browser's address bar, and we'll go over the features of the home page. At the top of the home page you'll see the name of the church and then a logo which describes the church, a Christ-centered biblical pioneering church in the Church of Confessing Anglicans. Then we'll go right down to the bottom of the page, and there you'll see there are three panels. The left panel gives parish contact details. The middle panel is a brief description of who we are, and the right-hand panel provides a map of how you can get to our church. This map is dynamic in that it can be zoomed. You can zoom out and zoom in. So let's zoom out and just see where the church is in terms of a wider area, and maybe a lot of New Zealand. Or we can zoom in and we can see it in terms of its immediate neighbourhood, and then we can even have a satellite image which gives us a picture of the actual church itself. The important part of the page is the centre part, which has a motto, faith working through love, followed at this particular moment by updates on our COVID-19 status, telling here what the church services are under the current COVID health regulations which apply at the moment. Beneath this are our services. They happen to be greyed out at the moment because they may not apply to at the moment. And below this is our latest service video, followed by sermon resources. You can see the video by simply clicking on it, and it will begin to play the video. If you want to see it in a full screen, you click on this button here and it takes you to the full screen, and you get out of that by pressing the escape key on your keyboard, and then we can pause that so that it's not continuing on. Below that are the sermon resources, and if we click on that we are shown a PDF of the sermon notes, and below that, going through that, we find here that there are some suggested discussion questions. And going back to the landing page, to the home page, we can see that there's another part of it which gives us our latest newsletter. Now these parts of it are updated automatically as the newsletter is entered onto the website, and as the sermon details are entered on as well. The next page which we'll go to is the About page. If we click on here, on the About button, and it brings us here, you'll find that the top of the page and the bottom of the page remain the same. And just by the way, when we're down the bottom of the page, just a couple of features here that you can go to our Facebook page by pushing on this link, or to our YouTube page by clicking on this link down here, YouTube. So let's have a look at what's on the About page. There's something about us, it's the same as what's on that panel at the bottom of the page. Then there is a section about meeting the team. This is the team, the ministry team at the moment. It needs to have Mike added to it, and then about our values and so on, and you can look through that. Our next page is the ministries page, and it tells you what ministries are going on in the church. About our worship, of course it's slightly different under the COVID regulations. Our youth group, and then our children's ministries, and information about pastoral care, connect or home groups, and other ministries, and these will be filled in as information becomes available. And then finally we have our resources page. Now this is a more complex page. It enables you to get things which come from the past. The first part of our resources are the sermons which we've had, and there's a list of five latest sermons which have been given. To see any particular service, you simply click on the service link here, and you'll be taken to this page which shows you the video, the preacher, the sermon resources which are available with that sermon, the date in which it was, and the date and time in which the sermon was given. If we go back, we can see, we can go down and see even more sermons by clicking on here. When we click on here, we get a table of sermons which goes way back, and this is just one page out of 3 which you can search through the sermons to find out what you want. You can also search the sermons by the preacher. If we want to know all the sermons which Michael Hewitt has preached, we simply click on his name, and again it brings up all the sermons which Michael has actually preached. Again, there's 2 pages of these sermons, and you can simply select a sermon by selecting its, going to the title column and just clicking on the title, and there we have that sermon and the resources which are there. Going back to the resources page, clicking on resources, underneath sermons are the newsletters, and again these are PDFs of the sermons, of the newsletters, and when we click on more newsletters, it gives us a list of newsletters by date, and we can see there's 4 pages of these newsletters. Going back to resources, and down the bottom we have our Bible study series which are done during Lent or Advent, and if we go to click on one of these, it'll bring up the series, and each of these, if you want to see the Bible study, you can click on this, day 3, and we'll bring up the PDF notes for day 3. And as usual, there are more than 8 studies in this, and you can go through to the next page and you'll get studies from day 9 to day 15. So let's go back to the home page by clicking on Home on the menu bar, and there we are. So thank you for listening.